All right, let's get started, everybody. Happy Tuesday night. Let's give God a hand for getting us here safe and sound tonight. Everybody could grab their chairs so we can get rolling. That would be awesome. We're going to open up in prayer as we always do. So while we get settled, we're starting right on the dot tonight because we're about order, right? Right? All right, good. So take a deep breath, everybody, and prepare for the opening prayer.
Dear Jesus, thank you for this beautiful day and this opportunity to gather together to learn more about you. I just pray that you open our hearts and minds to the teaching you have for us through Pastor Scott. And I pray for the still suffering addict that they find their way to freedom. In Jesus' name, amen.
Give Stace a hand. All right, it's awful nice out. Let's really let God know that we're grateful that we're here tonight. All right, let's go. Yeah. Thank you, I need that. All right, welcome. Thanks for coming out tonight. We're glad that you're in the house. We also are super grateful for our live stream audience that's checking us out. For those of you that don't know, we have a live stream cast that we can find on Serenity Village Community Church Facebook page. We also can find it on the YouTube as well. You just have to locate it and turn it on. But more importantly, you can share that particular feed and tonight's meeting with somebody that's in your friend system or whatever, just by sending them the link. So if you want to do that, you can actually go on and do that right now. So we're grateful for that. Let's give our sound team a big round of applause for managing all that. Sound, audio, visual, production team. There we go. I got to get it right. We're grateful for that. One of my favorite parts is right now I want to welcome our people that are in the house tonight for the very first time on a Tuesday night. So if you're here in the house tonight on Tuesday night, we would love to greet you and welcome you. So could you stand, please? Anybody? Awesome. We are grateful for you guys coming out. Thank you for coming out. If you would really bless us if you came back again whenever you can, and maybe bring somebody new with you. So let's give our new guests, new family members, a big round of applause, please. Couple of meetings that we always talk about every week. Monday night, we have an awesome Big Book meeting at 7 p.m. That's held downstairs in Fellowship Hall. If you're looking for a great Big Book meeting, come on out. Mike is always our guy, but Mike's in the hospital right now, all right? Mike's okay. He's going to be okay. He's going to get out tonight, but he's got a couple things he had taken care of. So let's give Mike a big hand, even though he isn't here. I'm sure he's watching. Mike does an awesome job leading that meeting. So another meeting that we have every Tuesday night immediately following the teaching is if you're a person that's looking to learn more about codependency or sexual addiction, Jacob and Rebecca, which, by the way, are not in attendance at the moment. They will be here later, but please come and check that out. Jacob will be here probably during the teaching, but he'll come up here at the end. And if you're looking to learn more about that, he'll be up at the altar here, and he'll take you down to the meeting. That particular meeting is segregated between men and women, so just come on up and you'll get led to the right place and you can learn more about that type of thing. So let's give that meeting a hand, please. Couple more things. We have, how many were here last week for the anniversaries? We had an awesome anniversary celebration. Every month on the last Tuesday of each month, we celebrate people in sobriety that are celebrating 1 year or more sobriety. And if that's you during the month of June, if that's when your anniversary falls, you have an opportunity to celebrate that at the end of the month. All you have to do is sign up, and the sign-up sheet is out there in the foyer, right where you grabbed your programs tonight, and get that on the list so that we can get you taken care of at the end of the month. Last but not least, there's more than just Tuesday night. Can everybody say Sunday?
Sunday.
Church?
Church.
Church? On Sunday. Let's give God a hand for church on Sunday. We have how many services? 2. How many? 2. Right, 2. 10:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Sunday. We would love to have you come to church. Please come on out, either, both, whatever you can make this Sunday. Last but not least, this is an opportunity for you again. Every week it's an opportunity for you to give back to this meeting financially. Some of you are in different places, I understand that, but whatever you feel you can give to help drive this community forward as it has been for 19 years, we would appreciate it. We're going to pass the basket while we play the video. Pastor Jeff has a well-deserved night off. Let's give the man of the house, Pastor Jeff, a huge big hand. You can do better than that. Come on. Tonight, after the video is completed, Pastor Scott will be coming up here. Let's give Pastor Scott a big hand. There he is. Yeah, there you go. All right. Pastor Scott, let me just say this. Pastor Scott is not only one of the pastors here at the Serenity Village Community Church, but he's also the program director at the Metro Hope New Hope Ministries. Let's give a hand for that. He's also our recovery pastor, and he is awesome. So we look forward to hearing from him tonight, as always. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Pastor Danny, who tonight is in the sound booth. Give him a hand. Multifaceted. We have some great people in our midst, in all seriousness. So we're grateful to have you both here, and we're grateful to hear from Pastor Scott tonight. So as we watch this video, please give generously and what you can. Thank you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace, amazing grace.
See what happens when I don't pick a video? How's everybody doing this evening? I know it's warm, so I'll try to make it quick. It is warm in here. I understand that. Even when it's cold in here, it's warm right here. Like those lights, it's like a tanning booth. just beaming right on you. So I'm hot all the time, so welcome to my world out there. It's the first time I saw that video. I didn't even look at it before we played it. He's like, this is what we're playing. I'm like, okay. That's the love of Jesus right there. Probably the most valuable thing we can serve, or we can sow, into this world is, and to other people, is the love of Jesus. I mean, the world and people are in desperate need of that love. Not our corrupt, ishy love, his. Right? What are you talking about? Ishy. Like we didn't have alternative motives back in the day. We totally did. We need his love. So I ask you this question: how present is it in your life? And just be honest with yourself. I'm not shaming you or anything like that, dude. It's just, if we're honest with ourselves, some of us are in desperate short supply and others are, getting a little better and a little better. I can't encourage you enough to invest in your heart. You can't give away what you don't possess. You can't love other people if you don't love him. I'm sorry if you came to this meeting for the first time and you thought it was a recovery meeting. It is a recovery meeting, and yes, it'll definitely work in your favor when it comes to sobriety. But the sobriety is just an effect. It's just what it comes with it. It comes with loving him and serving him and living a life for him. It's not just being sober, it's being free. And that's what we focus on in here, being free. I've been sober a ton of times, and it sucks. I hate being sober. Because I still got to deal with myself and my emotions and all this garbage. I got to wake up on Monday and go to work. I got to do all this garbage. But I'm not free, so what do? I got to feel good. I demand to feel good. Demand. Ask my wife after the meeting. She'll tell you. I demand to feel good. And without him, I'm drinking or getting high. For sure, not a doubt in my mind. Maybe not after this meeting, but tomorrow or something. Why? Because I'm a victim of, I'm an emotional person. You know what I mean? And I'm stubborn, but I can only be stubborn for so long. And sooner or later, that's going to be my answer. And if we're honest with ourselves, it's going to be all of our answers. So I can't encourage you enough to invest in your heart. Paul cries out in Psalms 51. I can't remember exactly which verses, but it's definitely in Psalms 51. He says, create in me a clean heart, O God. What he's saying is, he's not saying give me a clean heart. He's crying out for forgiveness. Crying out for his forgiveness. Renew in me a right spirit. What does that mean? It's very simple. It means a spirit that's aligned with his. That's what that means. Your will and his will. And by the way, a clean heart and a pure heart, there's the difference between them is so small you can't tell the difference. But one thing I can tell you is it doesn't mean sinless. Right? Doesn't mean sinless. What it does mean is when you do, his grace is there for you. The conviction is there, you respond to it, and there's repentance and then reconciliation. That's what that means. It's not if you're going to fall down or if you're going to, but it's what you do with it. How you handle it. And I say this all the time, if you handle it correctly, that's where you will experience perfection. Right? It's not being perfect, it's being perfect in that. That's how you experience it in your life. So invest in your heart. What does that look like, Pastor Scott? Well, that could mean, you guys, a strong effort to be in God's word. It could mean following the 12 steps, for Pete's sake. Honestly, that's one of the tools he's put for us, and it's magnificent. It works amazing to lead you to him, to get rid of self. It's a ridiculous tool. We're going to go over some of that tonight. It could mean investing in other people and stop being an isolator so they can hold you accountable. They get to know you, right? Better than you know yourself. That's risky. It's risky. That's right. It's hard to get away with stuff when they know you, right? It's easy when no one knows you. That's what's awesome. That's what's great about this meeting is you're surrounded by a bunch of people just like you. No matter how different and unique you try to be, you're surrounded by yourself. But at the same time, you can still kind of hide and blend in, right? So it's like it's a double-edged sword. You got to put out a little effort, right? If you get distracted, sit closer to the front. It's easy, right? Simple. Anyway, who was here on Sunday? Right. Okay, good. That was an awesome message. I was sitting there listening to it, and that word separate just got to me, and I was like, how does the Lord separate us? I needed to be separated. You needed to take me out of the game because I was not going to go voluntarily. I'm just saying. Getting sober was not my idea the first time, right? I was not on board with it. I thought it was stupid. I thought I could manage it. I'm like, how about if I just cut back a little? I'll use part-time. You know, I'll manage it to something. And that took a lot of years and a lot of jail and a lot of problems. And it costs a lot. But I was thinking about that word separate. And I was thinking about the Lord and how he's not a God that doesn't empathize with us, that doesn't understand our own weakness. You need to understand that the God I'm talking about, was tempted in every single way, yet did not sin. And how did he do that? He did it by focusing on his Father, trusting in his Father, trusting in his Father's word, right? That's how he battled it. That's the example. Now you can't say you didn't know what to do. So if you're sitting here tempted, what do you got to do? Focus on him, right? Focus on his word. Luckily, you have someone up in front of you speaking his word, so you can focus on me if you want. But I'm just saying, it's that simple. It's that simple, but you got to choose to do it. So how does he take us out of the game? Well, he kind of the same way he took the Israelites out of Egypt. He answers their cry. He puts us in treatment, sober living, right? Sometimes prison, right? He takes us out of the game. He sets us apart, right? Takes us out of the dope house, says, nope, you're going to be here. While we're crying and complaining and all, all that stuff. He separates us. And then, while we're in this wilderness, whether it be prison, whether it be treatment, whether it be whatever, when we're in this wilderness, he starts to, his work starts. He starts to lay these tools in front of us. He starts to put these people in our lives, right, who annoy us terribly. Right? They just do, because they just, we complain and they got an answer. And even if they're, I'm not saying they talk too much, I'm just saying they're always so cheery. They're half glass full, or what is that, the good part, not empty, good, yeah. Half glass full people, they're always, it'll be good, it's sunny out, and da-da-da-da-da, while you're thinking about you just lost your marriage, your job, and you got all this time hanging over your head and nothing's good, everything sucks. Yeah, those people are annoying, right? Well, I beg to differ. They're the example of what can happen in your life through obedience, through a little trust, through faith activated. So then God starts to work in us, and he gives us these 12 steps, and what the 12 steps really start to do in your life is they start to separate that wilderness mentality, that flesh and that spirit. That's what they do. And we're going to go through that. The 12 steps are an invitation. He invites us to the table. He doesn't just say, hey, you stay outside because you're dirty and unclean. No, he invites you right up to the table, belly up to the table. and eat with me, taste of me, experience me, drink of me. Get your life from me, not from her, not from whatever it was, but from him. He invites us to the table, and when we accept that invitation to drink of him, the true living water, something crazy happens. We find ourselves satisfied. And we don't really know. I think sometimes we're like, I don't know why I'm satisfied, but I feel pretty satisfied. I'm full. It's because you're full of him. Right? Now, if you don't think what I'm saying is accurate or factual, test them. Put this matter to the test and experience him, or are you afraid? I was afraid, I'll tell you that right now. I'm like, what is going to happen? What are they going to do to me? Am I going to lose myself? Well, you don't know who you are anyway, so it really doesn't, what's it going to hurt? You know what I mean? I don't want to look stupid. You don't think you look stupid at Walmart at 4 a.m, just looking around, right? I mean, we looked stupid, real stupid. I thought I looked good eating prenatal vitamins every day and not eating, and you know what I mean? I guess looking good is a relative, it's just kind of whatever you see. But anyhow, that's why this first verse is, it's a little harsh, but it's real true. If you don't work a program, you're not going to stay sober, and you definitely won't be free. Definitely. If there wasn't freedom, I wouldn't be sober. I'll tell you that right now. I have no desire to be sober if there wasn't freedom. I'm that guy, right? I can't lie to you. I can't tell you any different. If there wasn't more than just not drinking or getting high, I'm going to do it right now. And I'll pawn this stinking thingy on me because I'm going to walk right out the door, and I don't know how I'm going to get there because I don't have a car right now, but I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Where there's a will, there's a way. But in Galatians 6:7, it says, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. For what a man sows, he reaps. What are you sowing into? Are you sowing into your life? Are you sowing into him? That's a question only you can answer. But you will reap what you sow. 100% of the time. And there's fluffy parts of the message too. But I'm just saying, this is serious business because people die. That's a real thing. In Acts 10:34-35, it says, Peter began to speak. Now I realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism. I'm more screwed up than the other guy. He likes him because he was born on the... I don't know the excuses that run through our minds. It's a mystery. The stuff we make up and declare as fact is... They should make a Wikipedia just on a drug addict's mind. It may probably help the Al-Anon people better understand us, right? Or else they'd, I think they'd laugh and, think it was funny. But, dude, this is God truth. Nothing could be plainer. He doesn't play any favoritism. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference who you think you are or where you're from. If you want God and are willing to do what he says, the door is open 100% of the time. 100% of the time. If you are willing to be obedient. It doesn't say you're going to be obedient. It says you have the willingness to be obedient, by the way. Remember I said that pure heart thing? You're not going to be you're going to sin. You're not, it just is part of it. But it's what you do. The door never shuts, ever. 2 Peter 1:3-4, the roadmap to freedom. Here it is, right here. The divine power has given us everything we need for a godly life through the knowledge of him who called us by his own glory and goodness. Through these, he has given us his very great and precious promise. By the way, his promise, 100% guarantee. And no one told me it was 100% guarantee. It's because I've experienced it in my own life. That's why all the stuff I'm telling you is experientially. It's me not believing, no, that can never happen, and then it happening. All by just being as obedient as I can through him. Even when you don't want to be. Do I think every one of you wants to be at this meeting right now? Are you kidding me? No. I went to this meeting a long time. Trust me, I did not want to be at this meeting all the time. It's hot. I just got off work. You know, all these things. Every excuse on the planet. But you're here. You made the decision. I'm going to come. I'm going to come regardless. Applaud yourself for that. That's building your spiritual muscle. Right? Being obedient is key. Disobedience leads to bad thoughts and bad choices and a crappy life. I'll tell you that right now. And we all should know that. We've been disobedient enough, right? Everything that goes into this life has been miraculously given to you and to us. And by getting to know him personally and intimately, the one who has invited us, I mean, life gets good. Real good. You know those people that used to annoy you? Yeah, guess what? You turn into one of those people. You know? You can empathize with, you can even say this. You'd be like, dude, I empathize with you. Yep, it totally sucks, but you'll be one of those guys. Right? I've been where you've been. Just keep going. You'll start to be an example of what to do instead of what not to do. In 2 Peter 1, 5 through 11, it goes on to say, for this very reason, make every effort to add to your faith goodness, and goodness knowledge, and knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness mutual affection, and to mutual affection love. For if you possess these qualities in increasing measure, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive. That sounds terrible. I want to be ineffective and unproductive. That's my goal. Right? That's that intentions thing, right? I'm going to be productive and effective. That's my intention, but the fruit speaks for itself. Unproductive, right? That's the fruit of our life. It was definitely the fruit of mine. So friends, confirm God's invitation. His choice of you. He chose you. He desires you. Who, me? Yeah. Yep. It's a shock, I know. We wouldn't even choose ourselves. We wouldn't. That's our low self-worth. Us beating ourselves up. My mom and dad were this. They weren't this. I've done this. I had that done to me. You're still chosen. I sold dope and people died. You're still chosen. I stole from my parents. You're still chosen. You're still chosen. Regardless if you're a victim or you were victimized. It doesn't matter. It doesn't delete the call on your life or the invitation or his desire for you. You need to understand that. You got to stop disqualifying yourself. He hasn't disqualified you. Not even a little. You got 6 kids and they're all under the protection of CPS. He hasn't disqualified you. Hasn't. Not one bit. Last time I checked, the God I serve is a God of reconciliation and restoration. So, if you are that mom that has lost her kids to CPS, just keep doing the right thing. Those kids will find you. Sooner or later. I mean, my wife was adopted. She found her dad after, forever. Long time, right? And then I got to meet her brothers and sisters, right? One of her brothers is right in the front row. You know what I Now, if that isn't God, right? I marry someone that's adopted. She finally finds her real dad. Her dad has all these other kids, right? And one of them turns out to be like us. And I just happen to be there. That's just dumb luck, right? No, the Lord knows what he's doing. We don't have to understand. Don't worry about it. Just have faith. Right? Trust him. Trust him. I don't trust anybody. Don't get me started on the don't man trust situation. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Anyway. Romans 11:29. For God's gifts and his call are irrevocable. You can run and run and run and run and run, but you can't hide. Especially once you come to this meeting. I don't even care if you want to be here or not, but you came here and you listened to me for like 30 seconds. Now you're responsible. Because you can't say you didn't know. I hate that about that, but that's the facts. That's just the facts, dude. I mean, I used to not pay attention. I went to a faith-based treatment center, not once, but 3 times, never paid attention one time, but I had to be responsible for what they said. Just for showing up to class so I didn't get in trouble. And I wondered why nothing ever worked out in my life after I went to faith-based treatment. I mean, how stupid could you be? Why did I go to that treatment? But it was the best thing that ever happened, right? Why did I go back there 3 times? Because they loved me. Imagine that. They love me. That's the only reason. And I never got sentenced to Teen Challenge, by the way. So that's the reason I didn't go there. But anyhow, we need the power of God to work the steps. Remember back a little bit ago, I said that wilderness mentality, he's already set you apart. He put you in treatment, he put you in prison, he put you wherever. He brought you to Serenity Village, he put you to this meeting. Now he wants you to work the 12 steps. Why? Because you got to separate that flesh and that spirit. Because if you live a fleshly life, you're not living a godly life. You're just not. I have fleshly thoughts all the time. All the time. I've said this before, but this is like a circus you would never bring your kids to ever. It is a problem. It needs constant attention. And I have a whole team of people, 3, that know this mind and are thoroughly equipped to handle it. You know what I mean? They got armor on and all sorts of stuff to like talk to me in simple ways like, you're still wrong, you know. They know they can't get technical. They got to be real simple, little words. Or else I just don't, I don't get it. I know everybody else in here is super, super smart, but I need it simple, practical. If it's not simple and practical, I'm not doing it. I'm just telling you that right now. Right? It's just like a recipe. If it doesn't have less than 5 ingredients, I'm not doing it. And if it says marinate overnight, I'm just not that patient. So, here we go. We need the power of God to work the steps in our life. Why do we need the power of God to work the steps in life? Because if we don't, we won't do them thoroughly. Especially the first one. The first one. What is the first step? We admitted that we were powerless over, I'll just let you fill in the blank, and our lives had become unmanageable. We need God's power to admit fully. I'd move this, but it's going to upset the camera people. Fully. Not just admit, but admit all the way. Thoroughly convinced. What is currently consuming you? Because that's why you're doing what you're doing. That's the core. The thoughts, the feelings, emotions, that's what we really, truly are powerless over. Step 2, we came to believe a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Uh-oh. There's a choice in there. You got to choose to believe in something outside of yourself. How are you going to be thoroughly convinced about that without him? Especially after being God of your own world forever. You're not. It's not going to work. You're not going to be consistent. You're going to do it when your circumstances suck. You're going to be thoroughly convinced. And when they're a little bit better and the pressure's off, pretty soon you're president again. Who else? Who did that? I did that. Right? I'd go partial, right? I'd go just far enough, circumstances good, probation satisfied, wife says she loves me again, and then it's party time, right? Even if I didn't think it, that's what I did. That was the fruit, right? That's that good intentions. Oh, I'm going to stay sober, for sure. I got this great relapse prevention plan. Who's ever filled out one of those things? The worst thing about a relapse prevention plan is that you stinking wrote it. That's the worst. I mean, we know what to say. I'm gonna go to 90 meetings in 90 days and I'm gonna do this, and I got 25 mentors and 6 sponsors and none of them are women, and I know what I'm doing, and I got a 5-year plan. How about just getting your license? Or getting an ID? Or maybe getting your birth certificate. Why don't we just start there? Gonna go work anyway, doesn't matter. Step 2, you came, you show up. You come and the fog lifts and you came to believe, and that's part of the process. It's surrender of your human power. That alone won't bring victory over your powerlessness and unmanageability. It's gonna take him. That's how sick we really are, dude. I mean, we're awesome in our sickness, champions in our sicknesses. Like, it doesn't get much sicker if you're in these rooms, right? I mean, like I always say, I could take everybody in here, we could build a Fortune 500 company, no problem. The only problem is there'd be like, it'd go broke. Because someone would figure out a way to like filter money out of it, and pretty soon we'd be in, be a big Ponzi scheme or something. But that's what would happen, because we're all geniuses and super talented. I mean, you try to stay high with no job and warrants and all this other stuff for 5 years, 10 years, and I mean, that's talent. It is, dude, it is a lot of talent. Anyways, step 3, made a decision, to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand him. I want you guys, if you take anything out of this meeting, learn what it truly means to live a life for him and under him. It'll change your life. 100% guarantee. And because you're hearing this stuff, even if you don't believe it, it's going to change your life, because now you know the truth. And to ignore the truth takes a little more effort than when you just were ignorant and didn't know. I'm just telling you, right? It was easy to speed when you didn't know what the speed limit was, but once you figured it out, you were like, oh, I'm going 75 and a 55. Then you got to make the decision to keep speeding or slow down. That's what happens when you know the truth. You have more responsibility for it, right? You can't look at the cop and say, I didn't know. You know what I mean? We need to learn what it truly means to live a life under God. The third step prayer, I love it. God, I offer myself to thee. This is what I love, dude, because it just shoots down everybody on the planet that says there's no God in AA or any of that stuff. I didn't write this, dude. It's right in the book. And it doesn't say God, it doesn't say anything else. It says God. It doesn't say your God. It doesn't say what I think God is. It says God. That's it. It says this, God, I offer myself to you, to build with me and to do with me as you wish. So I'm going to give up all control and power. Lord, you do it. You tell me what, I'm going to do it. You tell me to jump, I'm going to say how high. I might not even say how high, I'm just going to do it. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do your will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over, and not, you know what, this is what I love. Lord, take away my victory, my difficulties, so that the victory over them might be an example of his power in your life. That's what it says. It doesn't say so you can be fancy free and da-da-da-da. It says, no, I'm gonna free you up so they can see it, and then they'll be attracted. And then you can tell them all about me. That's what it says right here. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of your power, your love, your way of life. Obtain power through prayer, surrender, and knowledge. It doesn't say that, I just put that on the end. But I love that. That's surrender right there. Now, I know people in this room that do that and have read that and said, okay, I guess I got to do it. And dude, that's part of the process. You're not going to want to do it all the time. You're not going to understand to do it all the time. Isn't that right, Brandon? Not going to be happy about it all the time, are you? Right. Anybody that tells you they are is a liar. He just called us a liar. Well, don't worry about it. It's okay. Be honest enough with yourself. Step 4, that's the fact-finding mission and the fact-facing process. Are you willing to be honest about it? We need God's power to assist us with the evaluation of ourselves. Step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Psalms 26:2 says, test me, O Lord, and try me, examine my heart and mind. That is a big boy prayer right there. Ugh. Are you sure you want him to do that? I was going to do a message on exposure, but I'm just going to tell you, what you leave hidden in your step 4, it's going to get exposed. So you might as well just be the one that exposes it, right? Because when things get exposed in you, most of the time they come out sideways. You know what I mean? You don't want them to come out that way, but they do. So they might as well just come out when you're writing them down on the paper. You know what I mean? And then you jump into step 5 and you admit. Step 5, admit it to God and ourselves and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. If we confess our sins, and he is faithful and just, he will forgive us of our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. The prayer of the righteous man is powerful and effective. There's something about getting it outside of you, and I don't want to say it's magical, I don't want to say any of that, but there's something when you speak something out, it just kind of loses its power. I don't really understand how that happens. I don't know. But man, when you speak out what you're going to do or what you've done, it's like the guilt and the shame and it's not a secret anymore, right? It's something, I mean, man, it really, really, when you get that crap out of you, it leaves a lot of room for him. A lot of room for him. When you get that stuff out of you, it's like quitting a full-time job you hated. Because it's a full-time job protecting all that stuff. You know what I mean? We hold on to our abuse like a precious pearl. Our secrets like a little, we just shine. It's like we come home from work sweaty, we work 12 hours, we're sick of people, so we go in our room, go in the closet, and just shine up all that crap. Spend another half hour in there, just, oh man, yeah, shine it up. It's like it's a full-time job holding on to all that. It stunts your growth. Stunts it, I mean, the Lord demands all of you. He desires all of you, and he wants all of you. You can't give him all of you with that. Get it out of you. No one cares. No one cares. Just get it. I can't even tell you. You'll realize once you get it out of you what you were holding on to, you're like, man, I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, but why was I holding on to that for 20 years? You know what I mean? And I held on to a lot of stuff, a lot of fear that caused anxiety. That, by the way, that stuff that you're holding on to, that's a full-time job you're not getting paid for, and you shine up like a Paul, you just really protect it, a lot of energy into it, makes you sick. Gives you anxiety, makes you worry, right? What if they find out? Oh my gosh, what a catastrophe. Anything you've done or had done to you or thought of has happened in this room, for sure. For sure. How many intravenous meth users have we got in here? All right, just look around the room. It's for surely been thought about or done, because that is when we just to say this, we knew no bounds. There was no I would never do that. Just didn't happen. Because if I didn't do it, it just meant I wasn't out there long enough yet. Thank God. Right? So don't be a hypocrite either. I'd never do that. You just weren't out there long enough. You'll do it. You given the right circumstances, there's nothing you won't do. I would never. Oh. I passed like 100 miles an hour past every one of my nevers. You know what I mean? I'll never smoke crack. That's dirty. Whole time I'm like, I'm just freebasing. I'm good. I know, that just sounds stupid coming out of my mouth, but I'm just saying, that's how moronic, it's challenged up here. I love that we can laugh, dude. Because if we couldn't laugh, we take ourselves too seriously all the time. I mean, come on. We just need to calm down. Number 6, are we entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character? The defects of character, what are they? Just look at your 4th step if you don't know. That'll tell you. And if you're a sponsor in here and your sponsee goes, what are my defects of character? You just pull out you just have him go get his 4th step. And just look. Because there they are, right there, right in front of you. The defects of character, it's anything that hinders you. You need to die to self. Ephesians 4:22 says, put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life. Put off the flesh and put on the Spirit. Remember what I said earlier about separation, the 12 steps? What it helps do is help separate that flesh and spirit. All right? And the enemy don't like it. It's not like he's just going to be like, okay, I'll leave now. No. He puts up a fight. He puts up a fight. But the people that the Lord put in your life know that. Your sponsors, your mentors know that. They went through themselves and they came out the other side. Why? Because they kept their eyes focused on Him. Even when they didn't like it, which all of them didn't like it. None of us liked it all the time. It hurts. Conviction is not painless. It's not, dude. You're going to feel uncomfortable. But because they went through it and the Lord is faithful and He puts you and surrounded you with a great cloud of witnesses that have been through those things, they can walk through it with you, right? We need those examples, just like Jesus was an example. Step 7. I love this. Humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. What does the 7th step prayer say? It says this, my Creator, I am now willing, my Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, all of me, all of me, all of me, not part of me. When you don't do a good 4th and 5th step, dude, you're not capable of giving Him all of you. You're just not. You got to uncover every stone. You got to flip it over. You got to get in there. If you don't, then you might as well go back to step 1. Because you're not ready. You're going to get partly well. You got to give Him all of you. I don't know how to do it. Don't worry. He puts people in your life. He puts people in your life. He doesn't say, all right, here's the 12 steps, do it by yourself. He says, no, I got this roadmap for you, and now I'm going to give you people and surround you with people that can help you and do it and fumble and bumble with you and be an encouragement, right? And not co-sign you. So, the 7th step prayer. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, the good and the bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me the strength as I go out from here to do your will. You noticed in those 2 prayers I did, very little of it is about you. It's all about how Him helping you can help other people. It's about the we, right? That's what it's about. And through that, man, you're full. You're full and you're free and you experience it and Most of the time, you can't even explain it. You just got to just point to him. I can't explain it. All I know is it works. Step 8, made a list of all people we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Psalms 51:12 says, restore to me joy of your salvation and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. The fact is, it's real simple. Don't give me, I love that Bible verse. It makes awesome sense to me now, but back then, just tell me to clean my side of the street. Remember I said it's simple and practical? I see myself, when someone tells me that, I see myself with a broom going like, okay. I clean it up. And then they say, what does that mean? That means I take responsibility for my actions and choices. No yeah buts. None. Well, I did this because, no. Nope, you own what you've done. No matter what. And by the way, these steps are in order for a reason. The hop along Cassidy people that like to I'll do this one and then that one and they hop all over the place. No. You will damage yourself and other people if you do that. They're in order for a reason. Once you've worked 1 through 8 thoroughly, then you're ready for 9 and 10. Or 1 through 7, now you're ready for 8, 9, and 10. Made a list of all people we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. All, by the way. Willing. Doesn't mean you're gonna. Means you're just willing to. Right? Just willingness. There are people I still haven't made amends to, and that's been almost 16 years now. Some of them are dead. What do you do then? It's a living amends. You better take that seriously. Oh, good, I'm relieved. I don't have, no. Part of your life and living in freedom and passing on the message, like in the 12 steps, like the 12 steps says, like the Great Commission in the Bible, that's part of your living amends. It's important, vitally important. Or else, what are you doing it for? One thing I can tell you is to make sure yourself is at the top of the list, though. You got to be able to forgive yourself. That's whenever, huh? That's right. We need his help. Step 9. Again, the fact is you got to clean your side of the street. What do we need from God? Well, we need his confidence. We need his strength, because if you got a good sponsor, the ones you think are going to be easy and are no-brainers, he's going to ask you to do some that are going to make your guts feel funny. Your first initial answer is going to be, nope, I'm not doing that. Nope. They will. Or maybe restitution is involved, and you barely make enough money to pay the rent, which is going to cause you to have to trust in him, right? I don't want to do that. I can't do that. What do you think the step's for? It's for you to grow, right? For an opportunity for you to put your trust in him and not in yourself and not in the circumstances. Just trust somebody outside of your own. Don't trust your own thinking, but trust the direction of the people he's put in your life. Step 10 is that daily maintenance. That's the evaluation of your whole day, all your relationships, your resentments, your fears, your conduct, unsettling feelings. I wish I could tell you I do this every day. I should do it every day, but I do it just about every day. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes, sometimes it takes a lot longer. But that's just me. But it's something that we need to do, right? Continue to take personal inventory, and when wrong, promptly admit it. 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves to see whether you are in the faith, and test yourselves. Do you not realize that Jesus Christ is in you? Unless, of course, you fail the test. I'll give you a little example. For me, one of the easiest things for me to start to do is to rely on my own strength. That's one of the easiest things to fall into. And because we're all really talented, it's really easy to do that. And how I'm reminded that I'm doing that is I feel cashed and everything around me is falling apart despite my best intentions, right? That's how I know. And if I don't do a inventory on that and I wait another day, there's a lot of victims the next day because I'm reactionary. I'm angry, right? That's for in my life, that's how it really looks every day. If I miss a day, I'll start running on my own strength, and it's a problem. It's a big problem. And I'm surrounded by, in my daily job, I'm surrounded, it's like this room every day. I get sick of myself in seconds. Can you imagine if you were surrounded, not in a good place? It's horrible. It's horrible. That's the importance of that maintenance. Think about this for you car guys. Could you imagine if you never changed your oil, ever? What would happen? The car would die, right? There you go. You don't do a step 10 in regular maintenance, you're gonna die. You will lose your sobriety. I'll give you a little picture. You run on your own strength, you'll become irritated, angry, and tired. You'll do that for a while. Me, I can't do that for very long because I demand to feel good, but for some of us that are stubborn, you can do it for a while, and then eventually you'll medicate yourself. That's what that'll look like. You'll stop communicating with your mentors and sponsors. You'll start making your own life decisions out of your emotions, and it's gonna be such a great day when you do that. All your dreams are gonna come true. No, you're gonna make a decision, a selfish one, all about yourself, not thinking about how it's gonna affect anything, and pretty soon you'll be homeless without a job and back in treatment. And that's by God's mercy, by the way. Because what happens to us? We die. We die. I just had that happen in treatment Saturday. Saturday. Dad and his son manipulated their way down here. I won't go into total detail, but anyway, they ended up in the treatment center. They lasted about 3 days, and they kept showing up at the treatment center every once in a while for whatever reason, and the son died underneath a bridge, homeless, on Saturday. That's what happens when we start calling the shots in our life. When God plants you and puts you somewhere and you're like, no, I'm good now, when you go part way, when you don't give him all of you. Is it that drastic? Is it that dramatic? Yes. Yes. We're alcoholics and drug addicts. We're dramatic, right? It just is. We think we're doing it in secret, but it's dramatic because everybody else knows. Step 11, rejoice in the Lord and be glad. Oops, sorry, that's not step 11. Step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve your conscious contact with God, and God as we understood him, praying only for the knowledge of his will. I don't want his will all the time, dude, because it's not easy all the time, and it doesn't tell me what I want to hear all the time. I want to sleep in, and he says, no, get up and go to work. And I'm like, I don't want to. I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. My wife goes, nope, you got to get up and go to work. Because he speaks to her all the time. I'm just saying. Isn't that right? Happened today. I even wanted to lie. Anyway, 2 Thessalonians 1:11 says this, with this in mind, we constantly pray for you that our God may make you worthy of his calling and that by his power he may bring to fruition your every desire for goodness and your every deed prompted by faith. I don't know if you know that, but that's really good news. That's extremely good news. But we need to seek him. That takes effort. That takes action. That takes desire. By the time you get to this step, your desires will have changed. If they haven't, you need to go back. I didn't say your thoughts would change. I said your desires will change. I still have jacked up thoughts, but my desires are different. So Like, for instance, I think about dope, my mouth doesn't water. When my desire was there, dude, I thought about dope, and it was, my body got ready, right? Had to go to the bathroom, I was sweaty, right? My mouth just watered, like that uncontrollable, just, you guys know what I mean. It doesn't do that anymore. Why? Because my desires aren't there. That will happen to you if it hasn't happened already. You'll still have the thought sometime. You hear Pastor Jeff talk about it all the time, right? I think about it every once in a while. I don't want to say I think about it, the thought comes, right? But because of the Lord's example and his word, we know what to do with it. Because of your sponsor and because of your mentors in your life, by this time, you know what to do with it. And there's no shame and guilt about admitting it because you went through your step 5. You realize that there's no reason to hold on to stuff. So you know what to do. You're maturing, yeah? You're growing up. You're not that little baby anymore by the time you get to step 11. And then step 12, Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry the message to the alcoholic and practice these principles in all our affairs. I'll tell you this right now. By the time you get to step 12, your life will be an example of that. It won't be by what you say, it'll be by what you do. Right? And that is what the AA is talking about when they say this is a program of attraction rather than promotion. That is what they're attracted to. And when they come up to you and they ask you questions, you'll be able to tell them about your Jesus, your God, right? That is the deal. Scream the gospel from the mountaintops, but use words only when necessary. Try listening first, right? Don't try fixing. That isn't even your job. You couldn't fix it. You're not, even if you could fix it, it's not your job, but you can't. It's him, right? You can just walk with them through it, supporting them. God makes a way where you see no way. That's what the 12 steps do. Isaiah 43:19, that's what the Lord does through the 12 steps, I should say that. Isaiah 43:19, see, I am doing a new thing right now. It springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness. Remember earlier I said, he separates you. He puts you in treatment, puts you in prison, does whatever he needs to do, but he gets you out of the game, pulls you out of there because you know you're not going to go willingly. And if you do go willingly, you have some weird alternative motive, right? So he gets you out of there, saves your life, and then he starts to introduce you to people that have the fruit in their lives. And they start telling you about their Jesus, and they start walking you through the 12 steps, and that's where the flesh and the spirit start to get more separated, right? And a good thing those people are in your life, because when that starts to separate, dude, enemy's not happy. It's going to put up a fight. I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. That's what the Lord does through those 12 steps. By the time you get to number 12, you're not thirsty. Why aren't you thirsty? Because he's your source. Because you're full of him. Your heart is pure, right? Your spirit is aligned with his. You're effective and productive. Psalms 32, it's something to be celebrated. You know, he hasn't given up on you. This psalm right here, this is David, and I love David because he fumbled and bumbled and made a lot of bad decisions and did a lot of bad stuff. I mean, sometimes I wonder if David could make a right decision if it was water and he fell out of a boat. Because it's like every time you read it, you're like, dude, what is going on with this clown? But he made a lot of bad decisions, but he also cried out for him. I mean, he was broken. And Psalms 32 is, well, David made another bad decision and he committed a sin with Bathsheba. And then after that sin, what did he do? He did what we all would do. He tries to cover it up, right? So we can relate. That's one reason I love the word, is because we can relate to what these guys do, what these people do. They fumble and bumble as bad as we do. sometimes even worse. They do exactly what we would do. We lie. You know what I mean? Basically, David got caught in bed and he's like, no, no. That didn't happen. You saw something else. You know, we tried gaslighting and all that sort of stuff and making the other people feel crazy. Well, David, I don't know if that's what he really did, but he did try to cover it up. David committed sin with Bathsheba, then sinned further by trying to cover it up. And you suppose David's life was real great and fruitful after that? No, it was full of misery. And I mean full of misery. Think about when you were in misery in your mess. Misery. Not only spiritually, but physically. You ever been so miserable you're physically sick? Right? I mean, full of anxiety. I had to go to the insane asylum because I'd worked myself up into, it was a problem. And the Lord had to pick me up and go, we got to take you out of this normal society and put you over here to rest. I'm not like these people. Oh, yes, you are. That's the fruit of your choices. That was a realization I didn't like. Anyway, so, David's life, it's full of misery, and it wasn't until, guess what? Someone that the Lord put in David's life rebuked him, like a sponsor or mentor. Someone that's going to tell you the truth. And this guy, Nathan, he rebuked him, and this brought David to a position where he finally admitted his guilt before the Lord, and in that he found forgiveness. He cried out. If you want to know what he did, he cried out for mercy. He cried out that, have mercy on me, God, according to your loving kindness. That's the type of a mission I'm talking about. I'm talking just, not just, Lord, could you just forgive me, please? No, dude, this was like vomit, guts, projectile, all that stuff, dude. I'm going to die right now if you don't forgive me, because that's how I feel, how wretched I feel. And David finally admitted his guilt before the Lord, and he found forgiveness. And in this psalm, David reflects, then basically the whole thing is a reflection of David reflecting on that divine forgiveness. He expresses relief which came from being forgiven. And by the way, this type of relief I'm talking about, it only comes when a confession to God and an acceptance of one's actions occur. You know you're forgiven. Why? Because your sin doesn't own you anymore. Right? What you've done isn't who you are, it's something you've done. That's how you know. Right? It doesn't mean, I'm not co-signing our sins, I'm just saying it doesn't own you. Right? It's not who you are. It's something you've done, it wasn't good, but it doesn't dictate the way you move anymore. He does. Resisting the admission, I have to tell you that it cost David a lot. And like I told you, it cost him just an immense emotional pain, because he just didn't come right up and, oh my gosh, I did a bad thing and now I need to repent. That didn't happen. Remember, he tried to hide it so no one would find out. Keep up appearances, that's a friggin' full-time job. Try to keep up appearances. Remember last time we talked about it's an inside job? It is an inside job. Until you let them inside, keeping up appearances is, let me tell you, everybody can see it. Everybody knows. You might not know her name, but they understand. They know that look. They know that cashed, tired, weary, worn out look of someone that's protecting their sin and hiding it and is ashamed of it and has guilt. I'm going to tell you, if that's you, it's going to make you sick. Physically. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Don't let it own you anymore. Conviction can be I said this earlier, but I'll tell you it again. Conviction can be unpleasant, but it's part of God's mercy. In this psalm, David is encouraging us to confess. Sincerely seeking God, you can anticipate being forgiven. It's a 100% guarantee. And I'll tell you this, true wisdom starts with the acknowledgement of God's truth, and this is God's truth. Those who trust in God are not free from all the thoughts, but they can be assured of his loving care amid the circumstances of them. So I've said this before, it's not God rescue me from my circumstances, it's God walk with me through them. Right? He rescues you from circumstances, you don't learn jack crap. You want to say you do, but you don't. You forget quick. But if he walks through the circumstances with you, by the time he gets it through you, or you get through it, you're a stinking expert. And then you can lead other people and walk through other people, right? I'm just telling you, I mean, everything he rescued me from, I went and did again. It was like a waste. Lord, don't let me get this DWI. Okay. I'll never drink and drive again. Okay. Every time. Every stinking time, dude. And I did this, whatever it was. I haven't walked through that circumstance with you. Lord, get me bailed out of jail, please, 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 please. One of the best things ever happened is nope. They didn't take that call. And we all know who they are too, us men. You know who it was? Their moms. It wasn't their dad, they were afraid. Mom, they call, right? That's not a good thing because as moms, they enable us too much because they love us, but that's what happens. So don't let them, they puff out their chest, right? No, their mom bailed them out. Well, my mom didn't answer the phone, and man, I was mad. That's one of the best things ever because it made me sit there. I still remember the dude bunking next to me, dude. He had a hairbrush. He was hitting himself in the head with it like this constantly. I looked over at him after like day 3. I'm like, dude, you're going to give yourself brain damage. Calm down. And he didn't say a word, dude. I didn't know if he could talk or not. He just looked over at me and just kept hitting himself in the head. I was like, oh, I'm never coming back here. Anyway, I have no idea what that had to do with anything, but it just came to me. I haven't thought about that in like 20 years, but I still remember that hairbrush, dude. Man. Anyway, yeah, like I said, true wisdom starts with acknowledgement of God's truth. Those who trust in God are not free from all the troubles. There's life, and anybody that is free and walking and living in freedom will tell you that. We're not free from troubles. They're troubles. They just are. Some we put ourselves in and some not. But we're not free from them. The difference is that it doesn't own us. We realize who our God is, right? We realize who's really in control, right? There are things going on in my life right now. I know who's really in control. I don't really like this stuff going on, but I know who's really in control. There's peace to be found there, right? There's hope to be found there. Those who trust in God, I already read that. Receiving forgiveness results in immediate restoration of our fear of relationship with him. I will tell you right now that he hasn't forgotten about you. And he desires you like nobody's business. And if you want a picture of his heart for you, I'm going to show you right now. If you don't know the story, there's a story in the Bible of the prodigal son. There were 2 sons. They both had the same stinking problem, but one we can really relate to. And that's one that lived like we lived and finally came to the Lord. And this is what the Lord's Father's heart is for you. All right, Andy, come up here. This is the Lord's posture to you when you finally come home. Right here. And he tells him, I'm so glad you're home. I'm so glad you're home. What he doesn't do is go, where the hell have you been? You should know better. Now get your act together. No, he hugs him. And he celebrates his life because he loves him